The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys StoryLine, the final storyline of 2024. It is Tuesday, December 31st. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope everyone is safe tonight, has some good times, can stay awake, whatever you got to do. Should be fun to roll into the new year, always is. But let's wrap this up the right way, have another great show, and let's talk about Cowboys Commanders, Cowboys Eagles, if you want to go back. I don't think he would. Let's close the book on that one. It was closed in the third quarter for the most part. And anything you want moving forward, I know this is the time of year. Mike McCarthy said it yesterday. He said, we're trying to finish the race. He said, I'll talk about contract stuff, coaching stuff when it's time to talk about it. He said, I'll stick to what I've done all year and try to finish the race. Some of the coordinators had some interesting things to say. If you caught those interviews, Mike Zimmer included there, but it's going to be, this is that time. I mean, the season will be over here before you know it, but it just rolls right into all these new decisions the Cowboys have to make, and so it's going to make for, without a doubt, it's going to make for an interesting offseason. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. Let's get right to the callers here. Robbie, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Robbie, you're first.
Happy New Year's, Nick. Nice to be first.
You too. How are you?
I'm great, and Happy New Year to you and your family and all the staff there, Chris Deemer especially. He's the hardest working man there, Chris.
No doubt. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I hope we beat the heck out of the Commanders. Excuse me.
Sure.
And what's your favorite New Year's memory? I'll leave the rest off show to listen.
Okay. Man, I'm trying to think. I will say this, and there's been I'm sure a lot. There's a lot of things you don't remember, obviously, from New Year's. But I'm trying to think from a Cowboys standpoint. When we played games like on New Year's, I know one time we did play on January the 1st in New York. I can't remember what year. I should know this. Might have been 2018, but I feel like it was a little bit before that. And I remember we didn't have anywhere to go, and we were in the hospitality room the night before. Nothing was really open, and we found some pizza place, and I was with the guy that works for ESPN, Todd Archer. We went to some pizza place in New Jersey, and if you've ever seen the movie Rounders with Matt Damon, where they kind of goes into like an underground place to go play poker, that's basically where we ended up. I didn't think I was going to make it that night. Like, I mean, we were like some pizza joint, and it was like, oh, it's open. Let's go there. Here's the address. And then he went down the steps and knocked on the door. And
it was 2011, by the way.
2011. Okay,
11, yes.
It was a while. Yeah, that's. Oh, that was the game they played for the finals. I mean, to win the NFC East, and did not win. But we were kind of stuck there, and like, oh, and the guy Todd was like, yeah, let's go get pizza. I've heard of this place. And I swear it was like top 5 like terrifying moments, because I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. Like, I hope this pizza better be damn good, because like somebody's gonna like whack my knees just to get it. But didn't happen, and I think the pizza was good. It wasn't as memorable as the moment there. Maybe I exaggerated a little. Who knows? All right. Thanks for the call, Robbie. Let's go to Gary, New Mexico. Gary, what's up?
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
You too. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, the Cowboys actually won an NFC championship game on New Year's Day in 1978. So,
wow.
Going back.
How much things have changed? An NFC championship game on New Year's Day, and now it's like we're not even through the regular season. But
oh, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm reading your website here. It says take a few trips down memory lane. As an older Cowboy fan, I have moved to memory. I live on memory lane.
Right.
128 Memory Lane is my address. Okay, so I got a trivia. I'm going to get you on this week's trivia question.
No, I'm ready for the challenge.
I've got one. I'm going to get, and I'm going to give you a fair shot. We're going to go back to your wheelhouse, 1983.
Okay.
You're really good at games. So, Washington at Dallas, Week 15, 1983. This was probably the most hyped game of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And by comparison, it's very similar to what we're about to see with Minnesota and Detroit. It was for all the marbles, division championship, home field advantage, all that stuff. So this was the no Danny, no game. Do you remember the game?
Yes.
The no Danny, no game. Okay, here's the trivia question, and I'm going to set it up for you. It's the third quarter of the game. It's 14-10. Washington leads. Cowboys have all the momentum, though. They're driving the ball. They kind of stall out. It's 4th and 1 at midfield. Landry lines up to go for it, but all he wants to do is draw him off sides, right?
Right.
Danny White thinks he sees something in the defense. At the last second, he changes it to a live play. The play gets stuffed. Landry, the sideline catches, the cameras catch Landry yelling, "No, Danny, no," on the sideline.
Right.
The question is this: who did Danny White give the ball to on that play?
Man. Oh, I don't think it was Dorsett. I'm going to say it was Ron Springs.
Oh, man.
Was it?
You got it.
Or Timmy?
Yeah, it was
Springs?
Ron Springs.
Yes. Yeah, I knew Dorsett would have got it.
No, he would have. If you remember the play, man, that play was blown up from the beginning.
No, they were stacked. 31-10, Washington won that game? Something like that?
Yeah, that play, Nick, that play not only play changed their whole season.
Yeah, that's true.
Completely, it was horrible. But, man, that is next-level stuff. I can't believe you got that
Well,
one.
there's three running backs. There's 3 running backs to get. And I don't think it's Dorsett, who was my favorite player. Maybe Newhouse got it. But, I mean, it was I mean, I know the running back. So, I mean, that's a good one. But I mean, I had process of elimination there. So,
yeah, okay. I gave you a chance. All right, so let's get back to this year's team.
Let's go.
All right, and I'm trying – this is my relentless effort to stay positive with this year's team. But
good luck.
I'm really impressed with the running game. I mean, as bad as they looked Sunday, they still ran the ball well, and they did that against a top 10 run defense.
Yeah.
And I think when we look back on this season, there's plenty of blame to go around, but I think one of the unfortunate things is that the offensive line finally coming together after Dak Prescott got hurt.
Yeah.
They've gotten better over the last several weeks, and I think when we look back on it, and I've heard McCarthy say this a couple of times, if Chuma Edoga had not gotten injured in training camp, he would have been your starting left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the missed stories of this season, because since he's gotten healthy and came back, they've been a little bit more solid on that left side. I think Zach Martin was a shell of himself all year. I think he was probably playing hurt all year. You remember back at the beginning of the year, he was not what he used to be. It's just unfortunate. And now that the offensive line has started to come together, it's just kind of a little bit, too little, too late.
Yeah.
A lot of blame to go around, but I think that's just an unfortunate thing. But I think that's something they can build on moving forward with this young offensive line. I think they run block better than they pass block, but I think they're showing some physicality. I think that's something, regardless of who the coach is, I think that's something that they can build on moving forward. But they've got to do that. When Dak comes back next year, whatever they do coaching-wise, they have got to give him a strong running game.
I agree.
That has got to be paramount. And I love Rico Dowdle. And I'm not opposed to him coming back, but they can't just be complacent in the running back area in the offseason. They've got to try to give him a strong running game and give him all the help they can so that he can be successful. But I'd like your thoughts on that, and I'll hang up and listen. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you. There's no doubt. I wouldn't worry about how much money this guy makes and how much, as far as Dak goes, he needs a running game. They all do. They all need a running game. I've seen last year's team with the Chiefs. They run out the games. Pacheco, as great as Mahomes is, there's times where you've got to run the football. You've got to run it when they know you're going to run it. I'm not one that sits back really. I've seen every game like you guys have. Watched every game, just about every play, I think. And I'm not one that sits here and says, what were they doing with the running game? Like, if they would have just given the ball to Rico all year long, they did give the ball to Rico. I mean, he was pretty much the guy most of the season here. They didn't know what they were doing. At times, Zeke would play here, but let's be honest. I mean, Rico has had a good, solid year, but it's never been super flashy or anything like that. He's had his moments. He's not extremely special. He's a good, solid back, and I like him. I like him, and I think he needs a little help too. I think there would be another running back would be great to have. He'd be a great complementary back. He could be the starter with another young guy, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Those two runners, you need them both. But he had moments too. He'll fumble here. He won't hit the hole like you want him to. He doesn't break it to that next level all the time. I'm just saying he's a good, solid back. The whole running game was kind of was just. It was a weird season too, because you say that about Chuma. Gary just mentioned that about Chuma getting hurt. The plan all along was for Tyler Guyton to be the left tackle. That was the plan. So Chuma could have been 100% healthy. They were going to find a way to get their first round pick in there. And he proved as the season went on, he wasn't the best option. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I said that in the press box the other day. Fourth quarter, third or fourth quarter, but there's Chuma out there, and they're rotating left tackles, and you've never would have thought by the last road game of the season, there's Chuma, still rotating with Tyler Guyton. That was never supposed to be the case. So it's credit to Chuma for, being pretty good and playing well, but also it wasn't what they thought. They thought Guyton would definitely take over by week 1, be the guy, and just get better and better and better. And that didn't happen. Doesn't mean that he won't turn the corner here, but that didn't happen like they thought. All right, let's go to Dylan, Northport, Florida.
Hey, Nick. Yeah, just to touch on that last call before I get into my stuff. Rico is he's just like not really. He's a jack of all trades, but doesn't excel at anything. He's a good number 2. He can carry the team if he needs to for a few weeks if RB1 goes down. He can spell RB1, but he's not the guy that I want leading the charge every Sunday. Yeah. So I don't want to pay him, but if he's cheap enough, sure, why not?
And that'll be interesting to see what his market is there. And you have to re-sign him as well. I'm sure he'll get the chance to test it. But the Cowboys are going to have to change their mindset on the running back position, in my opinion. Not just, we got Rico, we'll sign him, and we'll bring back Zeke and maybe Deuce, and we'll make it work. No, you got to have somebody a little bit special, because the special running backs, this was the year of that. The special running backs showed how special they are and how much they could really help. So.
Yeah, I joined Travis's space on Twitter last night. We talked about the running back position for a couple of minutes, and that was kind of one of the things we talked about was like Dak has never had a play-making running back. He had Zeke. Zeke was really good. He was not the guy that was going to house it 80 yards out. I know he took one on a screen, one time, but he's never a speed guy. It would help Dak tremendously to have a guy in the field that could score without having to put the ball in the air from any point on the field, especially at this point in his career where he seems to be maybe on the downswing.
Where would you put Pollard in that group? I like
Pollard a lot, but he just didn't get an opportunity.
But he had some moment. he was there with Dak. He had his moments. He took it to the house a few times. I know New Orleans, it was about 50 yards or so. And, he had some, but then again,
I feel like they rode Zeke for too long and didn't give. We heard probably 2 or 3 training camps in a row where it's like, okay, we're going to use Pollard more at receiver, get him in the passing game, involved, split more carries with Zeke, and it just kind of never happened. It was always the Zeke show until Zeke was gone, and then Pollard had his one season.
Sure.
And I think he kind of got a raw deal that season, to be honest with you. I don't think that he had the best offensive line play. I don't think the play calling was up to snuff as far as his skill set goes. But that kind of leads into my next point about Mike McCarthy. Rob called yesterday, talked about Mike, and it got me thinking. So I sat down and I did kind of a pros and cons on Mike McCarthy because I don't like to dogpile. I like to do my research and try to figure out the other side of the fence and kind of understand both positions, keeping and letting go of Mike McCarthy. So I had a hard time, though, thinking of the pros. All of the pros on Mike McCarthy were his historical performances. Like, he has a really good career record, so he's doing something right, apparently. His teams are typically competing for playoff position, so he's doing something right there. He's a quarterback guru, supposedly, and Dak played his best ball in 2023, I think, so maybe there's something to that. But when you look at, characteristics and traits, I couldn't think of anything that Mike does that's like, wow, I want that guy as my head coach. He's not a great play caller. He's not a great clock management guy. And here's my biggest issue was this year. The team has been undisciplined. They have a lot of issues with penalties over his whole tenure here, but this team was really ill-prepared, which was evidenced by the players and Mike himself for multiple losses talking about how they didn't practice well during the week and they weren't prepared, weren't paying attention to details. And that's like the number one thing that a head coach has to do, obviously, is get his team prepared. They're professionals. The players are. They should be ready anyways. They should be showing up and getting ready. But if they're not, a lot of these guys are young kids, below to mid-20s, young guys. Like, you got to get them focused. I don't know how you do it. I'm not a coach. I don't know the details on that. But, to me, a head coach has to have his team ready, and they weren't ready in the beginning of this year, multiple weeks. So that's the most troubling thing for me. But if you have any pros on Mike McCarthy off the top of your head, I'd love to hear about them.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Dylan, and always appreciate you always thinking, outside the box and not just, just coming on here and saying what about this and that. I mean, just coming up with a different topic, different way to look at it. That's why you created the Twitter Spaces, and that's why you're one of those leaders there on that, and really took this show to another level. So I appreciate you doing that. Some of the pros are things that don't have stats on them. That's what makes it. It's kind of like an offensive lineman. It's like judging them. You got to sort of know what you're looking at, and in this case with McCarthy, and this is where this is kind of tricky because the players love him. Okay, it's evident by two of the leaders on both sides. Players love him. Players want to play for him. That can be a good thing. Did anyone want to play for Bear Bryant? I mean, did anyone want to play for Bill Parcells and those guys? I mean, Belichick maybe at times. I mean, there's a reason why coaches are, think about when you were in high school and junior high and those coaches that you didn't like, they probably were good, though, for you. So just, it's like, yeah, everybody wants the substitute teacher, but they're there for a reason. That's my point is that just because it's a player's coach isn't always a good thing, because there's been some talk here. Maybe they don't practice enough. Maybe they because he's easy on them and at times wants them off their feet, wants to take care of them, things like that. Didn't help with injuries. They still were the most injured team in the NFL. So the players coach thing is kind of that's a tough one because you gotta know. Yes, it's good on one end, but sometimes and it's a different age too. It's a different era. It's a different era too to just say like, well, I got to be real hard on them. You got to scare them. You got to, they had to have fear. Jimmy Johnson was that way. I mean, there was guys that probably didn't like Jimmy that much, but at the end of the day, it was like, hey, he was great for us. I think Aikman would say that, early on. I think Jimmy was tough on him. So I don't know if I answered that. I mean, some of there are some pros. He understands, he understands how to navigate through a season and get them. You say get them ready to play. They were not prepared, like you said, several times during the season. I think he got them. He kept it going, kept them playing hard, all that kind of stuff. So, but that's on the players as well. So, if more than anything, if he comes back, it's because he's had good teams. He's had a good program here for 5 years. For 3 of those years in a row, when Dak was healthy for the most part, they were right there, and they were in position to go further in the playoffs. They lost in the playoffs, but that's what you want. You at least want them to get there. When Dak isn't there, they've struggled. So were they gonna get there just because Dak stayed? Who knows? But I mean, he's the starter for a reason, and I would like to think they could have won some of those games, but who knows? All right, let's go to Rick in Webster, Massachusetts.
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Happy New Year
Good.
to you and your family.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, a couple things, what Dylan said, Rico's not a number one running back. He's got complimentary running back, but I would like to see him come back. The other key positions I would like to see, players I would like to see come back if possible are definitely Jordan Lewis, Osa, if we can, keep him, Chauncey, and, possibly Kendricks if it's like that. But I was just saying is that some of the key positions we should get, like a running back, like middle rounds, and the wide receiver, probably, a linebacker and a cornerback to shore up the depth there. and hopefully that Kayla Carson and Warre and Butler and all them come back and help with the depth at the cornerback position. But all in all, I'd like to have a good New Year, and let's beat those Commanders this weekend and go from there.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rick, for the call. As you kind of went through the cornerback position there, it got me thinking, that's a position, that's an area. I don't know where they're going to pick. I honestly haven't even looked to see where the draft order would be as it stands right now, and I'm sure we'll hear that and get that story. If they win, it could be here. If they lose, it could be here. I'm guessing somewhere in the middle, 15, 17, 18, something like that. I really haven't seen it. But cornerback is a position there where, you're looking at probably, third or fourth corner. Depends on, traditionally. I don't even know what this year looks like there in the draft. But, that's a spot where you could take a corner, and you got Bland. He's going to need a contract here after this season. Diggs, I don't know what's going to happen with him. His injury is one that's going to probably go into the season next year, and and it's going to be up to him to get himself ready to go and also to be back. It's not just the training staff and athletic trainers getting them back going. I mean, a part of it's going to be on him too. He doesn't always stay here in the off season, so he's got to be committed to get back early as well. And so, corner could be a spot where I could see the Cowboys drafting in the first round, maybe second, because you just never can have enough corners. This year was certainly, one. Let's see, Chris is saying the Cowboys are at 13 right now. The best they can get is 11. What's the worst? Do you know what the worst, Chris? You jump in here.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Excuse me a second.
So they can get to 11 if they lose. 13 right now. So all right, that's better than I thought. Probably in the 15 range or so. Needed San Francisco to win last night. That would have been better, I think. I think it is. It goes head to head. It also goes strength of schedule. I'm not sure if it just goes head to head if two teams are tied and whoever won the game gets the worst draft pick, or it might just be strength of schedule. I guess I should know that, but usually it's you're talking about the 20s and 25.
17 is the worst. I'm sorry.
17 is the worst.
So the best you can get is 11. You can't get to 10. You get worse is 17. So there you go. There's your window.
All right. So 14, 15. Who knows? I mean, that's a bit. I mean, that's a difference. There's no doubt about it. It feels like it's a different player. 17 and 11 in the first round feels like a different player.
To get to 11, you want to know the scenario
Yes.
to get to 11?
Yep.
Okay, if you lose the game, San Francisco has to win, and Indianapolis has to win. And then you get that.
Okay.
So there you go.
And San Francisco.
San Francisco plays Arizona. Okay. Which that could happen.
Indianapolis
right?
plays Jacksonville.
There you go. So there you go.
Well, I don't know who the quarterback is there. Dobbs, I guess. Yeah, they needed that win. I mean, the 49ers winning that game would have been good there. Then again, hey, it's all good. Whatever it is what it is. Just go get it. Go get a good player. I mean, if they're 14th, you can always get good value depending on the position that you get. And I'm telling you, if you get a guard, I'd be all for it. Zach Martin was drafted 14th. And in 2014, and I'd be all for that. I mean, not a center. I don't know if you need a center, but getting a guard, getting a corner, I think you get great value there. Obviously, you get good value at running back if that was one worthy of that. To draft that high, I don't know. I'd rather go for the guard myself than a back. But anyways, all right, let's go to break. How about we do that before we do anything else? Go to break here on Cowboy Storyline. Be right back.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
All right.
Go, Brian.
Oh, now I can hear you, Nick.
All right, Brian, come on. Let's go.
Hey, absolutely. Well, good morning. First of all, good morning to you, sir.
Thank you.
The thought I had in listening to the couple of callers about Rico is I'd like to see him, because the offensive line got better as the season went on, but without Dak, I'd like to see him play with the full force of everything. I'd like to see him all together and see if he's maybe better than we think he is. I know he's had a good, 5-game stretch, not a good 5-game stretch, because the one against Tampa was not exactly stellar.
Yeah.
But the other games were pretty good.
Yeah.
And I would like to see him starting quarterback, starting offensive line, whoever that's going to be next year, and just see maybe he's a little better than we thought, because he's playing under some really adverse conditions, and he got better as the season went on.
Yeah.
So I know he doesn't have the breakaway speed like somebody mentioned. He's not the guy that's going to take it to the house from 80 yards. But that's just my thought on Rico. So I was listening to Isaiah Stanback on he does NFL.com once a week, and they were talking about the Vikings, and they had a very interesting point. And I wanted to see if you had seen this at any point in your history with the Cowboys. 5 of their players, key players, are cast-off guys from other teams, and they're top players for the Vikings this year. Darnold, Aaron Jones, Stephon Gilmore, Andrew Van Ginkel, which is their leading sack guy at 12.5, and Jonathan Greenard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but they're top players on what might be the top team in the NFC. That's a whale of a turnaround.
Yeah, it is. If you told me who's the best player on the Vikings team, I don't think you said him. So, when I think of their star players, I don't think of them. I think of Justin Jefferson, who I'm sure I know was drafted by them. So, it's definitely a key. What are the Eagles doing? The Eagles. When I think of them, I think of 2 main guys, A.J. Brown and Barkley, and they came from different teams. Slay is pretty good. I'm saying they've got some key players too coming from other teams. But but your point is it's not the way for the Cowboys. That's not what the Cowboys have done by far. So
no, just in your mind, what has been the year? If you've seen one, obviously, back in the day they got Haley. They got Dion one year. They got some pretty big players that made a huge difference.
Right.
And maybe turned them around. In your time there, has there been anybody like that? And I'll hang up and take that one, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Happy New Year,
you
sir.
too. Thank you. Yeah, obviously you're talking about 2 of the best, back in the 90s with trading for Haley and then getting Dion. And the Dion one was taking him away from the 49ers and putting him on your team. So it made him better, for sure. And that was probably the biggest one of all time because Larry Brown was a solid player. And he had a phenomenal season, and I think we all know why. Because I mean, he had a little bit more safety help than he ever did before. Because Deion's on the other side. We haven't seen free agents like that. The best one that I can think of since I've been here that just came in and was phenomenal was Leroy Glover. That to me is the best free agent signing that since I've been here. 4 years, 4 Pro Bowls. He was really, really good on some teams that weren't that good, but he was really a great player. Brandon Carr I thought was a pretty good free agent acquisition. Again, like we're not talking about a lot. This doesn't happen a lot. So no, there hasn't been a ton of free agent help guys that just come in and make a difference. That's by design. That's not what the Cowboys do. Should they change it? If they could. If they can, I think this year you'll see more of that because I think they will sign have to sign free agents because there's 25 of them on their team. So even if they sign their own or whatever, I think they're going to sign more outside than their guys on their own team. That's just what I think. So I think it'll look like they're a little bit more active in free agency, when in reality I think it'll be more of a shift of the roster. If that makes sense. All right, let's go to Zach in Chicago.
Oh, hey, Nick, it's Josh.
Okay.
No worries.
Sorry, Josh in Chicago.
That's
Hey, how
on
you
me.
doing?
I'm sorry.
Oh, good. What's up, bud?
Not too much. So, hey, I real quick on the Eagles game, I predicted a win from the Cowboys. And some of the bold predictions I've made this year, I could have been more wrong about.
Uh-huh.
So I'll just make last day of 2024, I'll make a 2025 bold prediction. I'll make 2 of them. The first one, Overshown won't play until 2026, and the second one, the Cowboys won't go to the Super Bowl. So if I'm wrong about those, the storyliners, they can pin it on Twitter or X, and they can call me out if I'm wrong about those. Okay.
Okay.
So So I just wanted to mention really quick about some of the younger guys. I feel like have taken a step forward. Mozzie Smith, I think, is looking a little bit better the past few weeks and few games, and I think Malik Collins, who is, signed by Kansas City, is having like a really good year. And I think Hankins was talking in the offseason about how it took him a few years to figure out really how the defensive tackle position really worked in the NFL. So hopefully Mozzie turns that corner and keeps developing. But I also want to bring up Smith, right? Like Tyler Smith really kind of struggled his first year, and then he really kind of figured it out his second year. And I'm hoping that's kind of the same thing that happens with Guyton in the future as well. I mean, the guy's an athletic freak. He's got a lot of traits, but he didn't play a lot of college ball, so maybe he can figure it out too. That's kind of all I have, looking forward to the future. But have a happy new year, everyone. See y'all later.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the call, Josh. You say that about I tried to have that argument too. Like, Tyron Smith wasn't that great his first year. He played right tackle. He started every game. He was pretty good. He just wasn't like, oh, he's going to the Hall of Fame. It wasn't like that. He wasn't a Pro Bowler and all that. But they moved him back to the left side, and then of course the rest is history with him. That's not what we've seen, from Tyler Guyton. Like we haven't seen that. Haven't even seen a lot of the flashes, the moments there. It's like it was with Mozzie. He's got to get better, and it starts in the weight room for him, and maybe in the film room. And he's got to understand, a lot of things. I mean, it's not just about hasn't played, because when you haven't played a lot of football, I mean, there's 2 parts of that. You got to learn how to play, but also you got to learning the game, learning the huddle, learning the calls, learning the schemes, stuff like that. It's not just about pass rush moves from the defense and figuring out where to put your hands. There's a lot of stuff about playing football, and so he's got to grow up, and they knew that. They knew that he had some learning to do on and off the field, and so. If he wants it, if he wants it bad enough, and that's not just Tyler Guyton, that's any player in the league, any young guy. If they want to succeed and they want to do all the little things, then he can get there because he's got he's got the frame, he's got all of that. He's an athlete. He's got some strength to him. He's got some dog to him as well. He's got to want to put the work together and put the work in the offseason and all that to try to go and be that guy. I think he can. We'll see. We'll see if he turns the corner, though, because they need it. I mean, you can't whiff on first-round picks, and this team can't. They don't have free agents. They don't sign free agents. So you better not miss on first-round picks. That's what's made this team. It's what's made it kind of work here, and why they've had a good competitive rosters, because they have drafted well, not just in the first round, but they're hitting on some of these players. But they were hitting on the first round, and then last 2 years you can say that they have not. They've not hit for first round. I mean, Mozzie was solid this year, but only because of our expectations, and that's the thing. If Tyler Guyton is better next year, just solid, that's still not going to be good enough for what you drafted in the first round. So, all right, let's go. Our next caller is David in Pinehurst, Texas.
Nick, man, thanks for having me on the show. I just have to tell you something. Huge, loyal Cowboys fan. I was born in 75, so I'm the newer 90s fan. But, man, hell is not red. It is green. I went to 2 games this season, one in Dallas versus the Texans. And, yeah, I was in Philly last Sunday, stayed at the Bellevue Hotel, wore a Cowboys jersey in the subway to Philly, section 104, row 3, seats 1 through 4. And let me tell you something, that fan base is the most loyal, crazy fan base I've ever been around. That atmosphere was like Kyle Field, except for every whoop you got an FU Cowboys. The only thing that saved me from not getting my butt kicked was I had 47 on the front and I had Trump on the back. Philly was a swing state. They love that guy there. The last thing I want to say is this franchise needs a structural, seismic change. I don't have all the answers on what that is, but we've got to look to the division champion. They've won 7 in the last 20. We've won 7. They've been to 2 Super Bowls or 2 conference championships, and they have 1 bowl to represent. Howie has got to be probably the best GM in the NFC because Lurie lets him do his thing. They got away from the Carson Wentz contract. We have got to do something seismic. Going back to Mike, I think Mike is a great motivator of men. I think he's a good man. He's got a chip on his ring, But let's call a spade a spade. The team turned around when they hired DQ as the DC. What happened this season? No DQ. The team goes in the toilet. I know we had significant injuries. I don't know what the answer is other than we need a cultural shift, and it's got to start with Mr. Jones doing something drastic. I'll still support him. I love him till I die, and I'm going to be at the next tough home game somewhere, maybe Allegiant if it's there. But please, let me go to an away game where we win and we show up better than the way that we did in Philly. Please, Mr. Jones, do something for the loyal fan base. That's really all I got.
Hold on, I still can't get past this. He wore a 47 Cowboys jersey, 47 with Trump on the back?
You're damn right I did, and it was the only thing that saved me from me getting my butt kicked. I had little 12-year-old kids telling me off, flipped me the bird. I had 4 of my other friends. My other buddy wore a Parsons 11 jersey. That was the only reason, because he's a Pennsylvania guy, so they loved him. No. And I think because where we were sitting, we weren't in the cheap seats. I mean, and that's another thing, I'm paying my hard-earned money to support this team. But I will tell you, every fan, Cowboys fan, do it one time in your life. It is somewhat of just going into, like I said, your rival's hell, and it sucks even worse when you get your butt kicked like we did. But I know that I felt everything that Mr. Jones felt, Nitson, when he was there, because I saw, the tweets and the videos and whatnot. Hey, I felt the same thing there. But like I said, the only thing that saved me was the 47 Trump jersey. Okay.
I don't know if that would save you in every city, but maybe it did there. All right. Thanks, David. That's interesting. I didn't see that, but I think we'll all agree, whatever it is, I think that we're looking to make the Cowboys great again. So that's probably, if that would work, then that's fine. All right, let's go to Randy in California. Randy.
Yes, go ahead.
What's up, Randy?
Oh yeah, I didn't hear anything. Like usually, I can hear you talking, and then
Randy, what's up? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Hey, we're talking about that the Eagles game and everything. Can you hear me? Yeah, so the Eagles game and the Cowboys game, which they lost, which was expected, but something in this front office, Jerry needs to do better. I was listening to him on 105 The Fan, and he has a great way of answering questions without actually answering the question, which I find astonishing. They need to stop having these deals where they wait till the last minute to sign someone, because they already knew what it was going to cost for Dak. They already knew what it was going to cost for CeeDee Lamb. Then you have to look at some of these players, if they're going to be cornerstone players or not. And if you don't want to sign
Hold
them,
on, I'm going to have to stop you. Randy, I'm going to have to stop you. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, that is wrong. And when people say that, they act like the Dak number was 60 2 years ago, a month ago, all that at the time it was 60, and the Cowboys they were trying to get there, and they finally said, all right, fine, it's 60. That wasn't the deal. Dak was asking for 65. CD was asking for 37. So it wasn't like if they would have done the deal 2 months ago or 6 months ago, they would have paid way more. So people don't know what these two players were asking for. That's why it took as long as it did. It was actually a negotiation. People just think, the Cowboys said, fine, whatever you want. Here's a blank check, Dak, do it. That wasn't the case. They fought on this to this point. So people don't ever realize that the player is actually holding it hostage too, because they are asking for the moon, and that's what it is. So, anyways, I had to throw that out there because I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, and that's the player's prerogative to do that, to make as much money as they can. I'm totally for that.
So
for instance, like Trevor Lawrence got it was 55. So I'm because you're paying a player for what they have done and what you expect them to do, and what Dak has done has been far greater in significance than Trevor Lawrence. So you already knew it was going to be over 55.
Right.
So, but I get your point. If he says yes for 65, we're thinking about 60, and you try to narrow it down, that's fine. But if you're going to someone say, or for instance, if Overshown wasn't hurt, and when's the quickest you can sign him? You should do it. If you really think he's that special of a player, get on it, because you can spread that cap hit over even those existing years.
I'm with you on that. On if you know right away that you want the player, and then start it early. I think the same way when in that term. But agents are pretty good too now. The agents are whoa, If you want to pay it early, then this is what it's going to be. Because what happens is the agent projects. Everyone's projecting. Well, the agent thinks that Overshown is going to be Ray Lewis. So that's what an agent does. They think of their player that way. So that's when they're like, oh, you want to sign him early? 2 years ahead. Well, this is what he's going to do this year and next year, and he'll be this. So might as well pay for it. So that's why they tried to do that with Deron Bland. But, Deron Bland has, the pick sixes and all that. It's like, we'll wait. We'll wait and see how this goes. So.
No, I guarantee that's totally fine. But at the same standpoint, they're putting their client at risk if it's a significant injury. Then if they can't play no more, if they get hurt, that kind of hurts them in free agency.
That's the game,
so
that's always been the game.
Played.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say the biggest incentive to get these players to sign early contracts is making it fully guaranteed, because that's what it really matters. Because then in that you can either have injury clause and all other kind of stuff, but getting the guarantee money is the biggest thing. And if you're going to sign them early, you already signed what the last highest linebacker got in that market. You can go $5 million above that, and then you add it on to the other 2 years. And then I was going to say, is Micah going into his fifth year option, or is it his tag year?
He's going into the 5th year option. So
okay, so I have this. I think they're probably going. I think I would be disappointed if they really drag this out and not get it done, and Micah misses out on training camp. I would be very disappointed.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about Deron Bland, if this team doesn't feel like, okay, Deron Bland's going to cost too much money, we're paying a corner already, then you have to start looking at the options. Okay, we'll trade him then. If the other teams know they're not going to sign someone, they trade them. you're going to get a higher draft pick instead of just a compensatory pick. And then the last one,
all right.
Oh man, I'm having a fart, but I had a brain fart. But yeah,
okay.
Oh, the last one was like Howie Roseman. The way he's doing stuff, he's adding a lot of stuff on the prorated bonuses and non-prorated bonuses, which eventually costs them in the end.
Sure.
Because in 2029, they have like $200 million in dead money.
Right.
And he's in that window now. He doesn't worry because if he doesn't do anything in the time of his contract, he's getting fired.
Well, they got to win. That's the thing. This is exactly where the Cowboys were 3 years ago, and they've got to win. This is their window to win. They're there. They're having the same type of season. They're there. They got to win. If they don't, then you'll be blamed for it. But he's going for it. And people don't like to realize that. But the Cowboys did the same thing. Cowboys went for it in their own way, and it didn't work in their window. Now they're kind of look like they're getting out of it. All right, let's go to Rob in Vegas.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob. Got to be quick, man. I still got a break to do. So what's up?
Did you watch that game last night?
I did.
Those are the two best play callers in the league, and those offenses are light years ahead of what the Cowboys do. And there's a guy available, Ben Johnson. I mean, if he could do that with Jared Goff, who I think he's a little better than Dak, but hell, he could do with him. He could do it here. We were talking about coaching. Dan Campbell, to me, is the type of coach you need, and especially with today's players. Because of the money and because of the outside influence, you need a guy like that. He is so much like Bill Parcells, where he just gives you the look, and these players know. That's the kind of guy you need, a walk-around coach surrounded by really good assistant coaches. And the only reason if Jerry stays with Mike, it's just like the same reason why people stay in a bad relationship. It's just because he's comfortable. That's all it is. There is no other reason than to bring him back other than Jerry just says, I'm just comfortable. He's a nice guy. I like him. We get along good. I'm 82, whatever I am. And that's it, because he doesn't bring anything else to the table. His ceiling is, he showed you what his ceiling is. And to me, that would be such a wrong move. I agree with the last caller. Yes, of course there has to be a shakeup in the front office, but that won't happen. So let's go to the next trickle down, which would be the head coach. And that's why this team needs such a strong coach like a Jimmy Johnson. Jerry used to do the same thing with Jimmy, bring people into the locker room, piss them off, and Jimmy would just give him the look, but then go about his business like, come on, get out of here. That's what they need. And unfortunately, I just don't know if Jerry wants, at his age and his billions of dollars, I just don't think he has the will to win a championship like he used to.
Yeah, I can't. I just would disagree, but I don't know. It's not worth arguing about, what someone else is feeling and all that. I think the desire to win is as much as it's ever been, probably even more, because it's been so hard to get back. But
but it's like this. It's like I want to hit the lottery, but I don't play it.
Yeah.
It's like Jerry. I want to win a championship, but I don't do what you need to win a championship.
Yeah.
He knows what needs to be done. He ain't stupid. He looks at these teams and says, wow, free agencies really help these teams, especially Philly, and he doesn't do anything like those teams. So if you don't do that, you will never win a championship.
Yeah.
You cannot draft good enough.
All right, Rob. Appreciate it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. You be safe. Let's go to break real quick, and we'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
What's up? We're back here to close this thing out. Not only close out the show, but close out the season in the year of 2024. I got the crew here. I got my son Jacob. Got Chris's kids right here. Look at Logan and Presley. What's up, everyone? Say hey.
Hi.
Hey, real quick. Christmas came. What was your best gift?
Mine was a VR headset.
VR headset. What about you guys? Say it loud.
An iPad.
You got an iPad?
Mine is an iPad and Arcados.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. So, and you guys, do you even know what a New Year's resolution is?
I do.
You did? What is it?
It's
and what are you going to do?
It's like a thing you want to do like for the new year, and I do not have one yet.
You don't have one?
Same.
You're just perfect as is?
No.
You don't need to get better?
I mean,
okay.
I don't have
What if
one
the Cowboys said that? Like, we're good. We don't need a resolution. We're good. All right, guys. We're going to wrap this thing up. We got to get out of here. Why don't you say, everyone, Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year's Eve. That's right. All right. So for Chris Beam, his kids, for Jacob, my whole family, all that, Happy New Year to everyone. We will see you next year. We'll see you on Thursday, January 2nd. We'll be back here for Cowboy Storyline. Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?